Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, 9:10 p.m. Eastern edition. Yes, 9:10.
9:10.
Yeah, just made that up.
Professional.
Sorry for the delay.
Professional.
Yeah. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Short Sky, Beer Baron, and Scotty are on assignment right now, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Short Sky coming from the highest point in New Jersey, and I'm down like the Devils in the lowest point in New Jersey, inside the bunker, in an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. Title of the podcast tonight, Can the Devils Turn It Around? What a bad week. What a bad week, Short Sky. I mean, I felt like we won the Stanley Cup at that outdoor game. That good vibes, that we were getting start to finish. It almost felt like a Cup Finals in a way, just the tailgating and all, and then just all went down the hill from there.
It felt like the high point of the season. I want to say partially that is because you and I and the rest of the guys have been planning for it and looking forward to it since the summer, and we hit it. And it seems like not only has it seemed like a letdown since then for us, but it looks like it's been a letdown for the team since they won that big game. And yeah, you're right. It almost feels like that was their championship for this season was winning that outdoor game, because it feels like nothing has gone right since. That would be even including yesterday's victory over the Montreal Canadiens, which was not a convincing victory. It was we just got by a team that we should have beaten much easier than we did.
Yeah, just lots to go over. Much. Because you don't even know where to start with this team, right? And by default, fans are just pointing out Lindy Ruff. They're just Lindy Ruff. I had fans that came up to me politely, but a little pissed, about Lindy, and my pro Lindy stance in the past couple years. And it's like sometimes the ones that bring up good points and constructive criticism of my assessment, I don't have a problem with that. But there's some fans that think that I could just call Tom Fitzgerald on the phone and make that firing happen. No, I don't talk to the front office. I don't talk to anybody. I only talk to you, the fans, and or some of the guests that we have on this podcast. But let's be realistic here, okay? Lindy's not the only problem. There's lots of stuff to go over, and just to make it simple, Shorts Guy, I'll help start this podcast. When you build a franchise, you build from the goalie out. Why don't we start with goaltending?
Getting better goaltending would be nice, but it wouldn't be the only problem. It would not be the fix-all and the be-all, end-all to get this team back on track. We're relying on a young set of defensemen. We're now relying on a very young trio of goaltenders. And the goaltending, we thought we were getting it finally, maybe from Vitek from that Carolina game, and then he mysteriously got hurt, which was not good. Dawes, I thought Dawes has played very well, and he seems to be pretty good. But again, when you're getting almost no goal support and shoddy defense in front of you, it's your performance is going to be the same as the rest of the team. Building out from the goaltenders, the defense, Luke Hughes specifically seems to have had a very rough week this week. A lot of mistakes in that Ranger game, and more mistakes in the games following. And we've barely scored any goals, with the exception of the goal scored yesterday in against Montreal. We haven't scored much. I did the math earlier at the end of the game when I was seeing all the numbers before I went and worked. We've given up north of 20 goals, I think, over the last 4 games. So defensively, that's not good, and we've scored very little. So it's just, to me, it's an uninspired team. that has, for some reason, seemingly looked like they're either A, packing it in for the season, or B, they're actively trying to play like crap to get Lindy fired. I don't know because they look so uninspired. You should look so much more inspired to play against the biggest rival on Thursday, and you look like garbage, like they didn't even show up. You're playing a team today that's right above you, and you need those points in the worst way, and you look completely uninspired. Max just said it in the chat. 3 shots in the third period. 3 shots in the third period, Sam. Tell me, how inspired are you when you're only taking 3 shots in the third period? Like, granted, yeah, Tampa's a better team, but find a way to throw something on net. These are NHL players. Like, find a way to put something on net. It's just it's so gross to watch them play this uninspired mess of hockey, that they are blowing their season by playing hockey the way they are right now. They are completely blowing the season. We're going to look back on these games and we're going to say, damn it, those are the points we needed.
Yeah. And, I point this out on the Will Report, and I'll point it again. All you have to do is see that Bastian hit, during the Rangers game. And Jonas Siegenthaler, try to respond, and I give him credit because he's going against a guy that's 6'7", 6'8", and he's not really an enforcer. But what should have happened is all the players on the ice, goalie included, should be pissed off, and 5 players get involved, and a scrum should have happened to send a message, right? Secondly, the bench should have been – everybody on the bench should have been up on their feet, up on their skates, John doing whatever they can to just be really pissed off, and really they just sat there.
And it's not the first time. It's not the first time they've done this season.
This is the most Gato and chill team. Like, they're just so, like, I don't know, just I don't even know what the right just
there is no right word for it because it's just garbage.
They show no emotion.
And this goes back this goes back to, there was a game, and I can't remember who it was against, and I know I made a big deal of it when it happened. Vitek got run over, and Nate Bastian, that may have been the game on the 23rd of December. Vitek got plowed over, and Nate Bastian just looked down at the player that plowed into Vitek and did nothing, no reaction.
Yeah.
And that's not to pick on Bastian, because I know he took a pretty big hit the other day. He looked like a mess. You know what? This just happens to be coincidental that he got hit this past week, but I'm bringing that back up again because that was 2 months ago, that game. Just about 2 months ago. And this team is still just weak in the response for anything. I mean, hell, the Rangers called up that kid because he was huge and because he was gritty. Where is anyone like we have that? Where is anyone that we have on our roster or in our system that we can bring up and do the same thing?
Which begs the question, are these players prepared? Is there a lack of leadership? Is it coaching? Is it the captain himself? And I'm not trying to point fingers. We're just trying to figure out, like, there are some things that just are mind-boggling. Like, again, it's like even Jack Hughes. Sometimes he gets beaten up, no response.
Mm-hmm.
But you could go back to the Chicago game where Brendan Smith took out 2 players, 2 for 1. Right, the league's darling, and Foligno that tried to stick up for him, right, and then Jack Hughes got pissed off in that game,
Yep.
And the team showed emotion, and then it's like a team like today or even against the Rangers, it was just like no punch, no counterattack, no will to win.
No,
now,
none.
James Nichols and Ryan Novozinski said, that the team is pissed in the locker room. Well, you have me fooled because at least show it on the ice.
And we saw that in the LA Kings game that I was there at live with Vinny Parisi when Jack broke his stick and chucked it on the ice. Like, at least show something like that. Like, there was nothing like that
Yeah, and we're not
in the last
talking
couple
about
games.
artificially infuriating yourself. What we're
Yeah.
talking about is like we don't see any kind of like emotion or any kind of like motivation to win the damn game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you keep on trying, you keep on trying, you keep on trying, and I get it. You know, the players are maybe trying, on the ice, some of them at least. But like honestly, if you want to be elite team, you've got to kick it up three or
Yep.
four notches. And this is not an elite team.
No.
This is not an elite team. Do they have potential? Yes, skill wise, but something mentally in their heads is not clicking right now. Something is not, and there are a lot of things that's happened this season. You've got your injuries, okay. You've had the Hockey Canada thing, right? You've had some goaltending injuries right now, and again, and Kira Schmid, who I thought played good enough to win, but didn't get the goal support.
Well, that's been a problem too.
Yeah, and you're relying now. You're riding on Nico Dawes for those 7 games recently, and Vanacek. Who knows what's wrong with him right now? And if anybody's going to tell me we're one goaltender away, no, we're not.
No, you're not watching.
Yeah,
If you're saying that goaltending is the only problem, and I don't know if anyone is anymore, I would hope not. But if anyone is still saying goaltending is our problem, it's at this point with the way this team looks, it wouldn't be worth what we would have to send out in order to bring a good goaltender in at this point.
yeah. But I think where I'm really scratching my head are the Lindy Ruff press conferences. I don't know if he was just trying to protect his players. Today he's saying he takes full responsibility of all this, which is good. I know. I think he sincerely means it. I also think that when he's dealing with the press and about the power play, when I believe it was James Nichols that asked a simple question, realize he's coming off the ice 20 minutes, not fully digesting everything yet, and then have to answer questions. That's not easy, but at the same time, you're a veteran coach, and it's not like New Jersey is a media market capital of the world that, hounds you like, Toronto or New York or L.A. for that matter, But I think Lindy definitely has lost touch with the fans because those press conferences is what we see. That's our insight. We're not in the locker room. And the perception is he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And I know a lot of fans think that because I'm hearing all the time now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling. I was watching. I've tried to pay a little bit more attention to his post-game pressers the last couple games. Unfortunately, I know that this week coming up, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be up late enough to see his post-game pressers for this week coming up. But yeah, like that some of the things he said was just they were head scratchers. I know it's been brought up before, but the blaming the power play on the press. Like I understand, and we brought it up on Game Day Live the other day, so this is nothing new that we've talked about. He's got to protect his players. I get it. Like we all get that. It just seems so out of character. Not even out of character. It just seems so out of nowhere to be like, well, this is all your fault. It's like, come on, man. I know you're protecting your players, but that was just not the best comment to make there. It's is he out of touch with the fans? It's possible, but then again, the coaching staff can only do so much to set up a game to get these players set up. That when it comes time to go on the ice, it's the players that have to execute. One of the things that I was happy to hear him say, I forget if it was this game or the after the rain. It may have been after this game, when he was saying that players are making that extra pass and they don't need to. So he did call out. I think that was today that I caught that. Calling out the players that are making those passes that they don't need to pass, like they're making stupid decisions, and he was alluding to that today. That they're not smart, that they're not playing smart hockey, that they're making stupid plays essentially without saying stupid plays. Which at some point, yeah, he's got to start calling out the players. So maybe today was the start of that, being like, yeah, these guys are making dumb mistakes. He was very, when it came to Luke Hughes after the Ranger game, like, yeah, well, that's a play he'd probably, a young defenseman would probably want back, which is obviously the case. That's that Lafreniere goal, but it seems like today he was frustrated a little bit as well, saying, basically saying like, yeah, these guys are making the extra pass and they don't need to pass, they need to shoot more, which is pretty damn obvious when you only have 3 shots in one period to end a game that you absolutely needed to win, because these games are slipping away. And I keep feeling like I'm a broken record, and I hate broken records because my record collection is pretty damn good, and none of them are broken, knock on wood. But I am a broken record when it comes to this.
What about Ann Crew Brew? It's the greatest beer to drown your sorrows. 21 or older. Ann Crew Brew, where we enjoy losing memories too, one crew at a time.
It's I don't know. It's just so frustrating. It's becoming so very frustrating to watch and to just see these plays, and I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough.
Especially after watching what happened last season, right? Last season, the team was just full of speed, energy, exuberance. The sky was the limit, breaking records, just, basically taking the league by storm, annexing, pretty much Canada and the West Coast, and just having a great time, having fun. They're not having fun right now. Maybe the expectations, the high expectations coming into this season, going 7-0, I believe, undefeated in preseason, and, coming in and just thinking, okay, we could just, roll over teams, and they've struggled with the injuries, with having Severson and Graves move on. It shows you. Look, it's not like Severson and Graves are like elite top 5 in defenseman category type players, but they were decent size, consistent, good or bad, shot blockers, and a veteran presence back there. They had experience, and it's Tom Fitzgerald took a different direction. They knew that Luke Hughes was going to come out of college. Simon Nemec was in the pipeline. You also had Seamus Casey, Ethan Edwards, and all. That the blue line in the pipeline was going to be stacked. And you trade for Timo Meier, which you had to re-sign. You had to also re-sign Jesper Bratt to a bigger contract. So some of that salary cap space was used for that purpose. But right now, again, it's the growing pains of that blue line. You can't fault Lindy on that. But, and also with the goaltending, I would say it has been suspect at times. But the Devils do find themselves 29, 25, and 4. And last year, on this date, the Florida Panthers were 29, 26, and 6. And out of the playoff race. So, but I think that here's where I'm concerned. The Florida Panthers have Matthew Tkachuk, gritty guys that are willing to take the team on his back and will themselves in the playoffs, because once you get in the playoffs, you hit the hard reset button. It's a totally different.
Oh yeah,
it's a totally different league. A totally different season. So, it is possible to answer the question: can the Devils turn it around? They obviously have the talent to do it, But what my concern is, they've mentally checked out since that Washington game, where it just spilled over into the Rangers Devils game on that Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I feel like they mentally checked out after the outdoor game.
Yeah.
That's when they mentally checked out. And to bring up the Florida Panthers, Kachuk is also willing to call out his teammates publicly, because he did that too right before the season ended last year. If you remember, he called out his teammates and they responded. I don't think there's one. I don't think there's one player in the Devils that would call out their teammates like Kachuk did. Is that always the best course of action? No. Is it sometimes needed? Yeah. And this team is playing so uninspired that something has to change, something has to break. It's what is it? I don't know. Maybe they have to be called out. Maybe this is the beginning of them being called out today by Lindy. Nico is a very quiet captain, a very calculated and kind of quiet individual. So he's definitely not going to be saying anything like what Kachuk said.
But he does. But he does use the F-bomb every once in a while when he's excited.
When he's excited, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe he's got to go on a post-game rant in the locker room. Like I don't know. Like I would love to hear what these guys are saying, because, I don't like they've got to know that it's what is it going 1-3 over the last 4 games is just not good. It's not good enough. Just like Tom pointed out, Max brought it up earlier in Game Day Live, the sign is back, not good enough, because it's exactly what the Devils are. They're far from good enough. They're absolutely not good enough. And they've got to change this. What that change is, I don't know anymore. We've gone over so much stuff. I've always been so I'll always defend the goalies in those situations, but you bring up, like, we lost 2 stalwart defensemen back there. They weren't world stoppers, but it was a calculated risk to go with a very young defensive core this season. And then we had some injuries on the back end, and then that gamble lost. That was a bad bet to gamble on young
in the
defensemen.
short term, though. In the short term, because the long term, you're getting Nemitz and Hughes experience right now. So
I know.
So I don't want. It's not all doom and gloom, but you're absolutely right. Short term, it sucks, and it sucks that the Devils are in 9th. They're currently in 9th place, right now.
Something like that, yeah.
And like 6 points out.
And what sucks is a team like Detroit keeps winning, and we could have gained on Tampa today, and they beat us, and we took them to overtime. Aside from the last time that they were here at the Prudential Center, we took them to overtime. I think it was the home game against them, because that away game when Ball passed it right to Point in the frickin' slot, that's when I think I lost it the most with Kevin Ball, with that pass in particular. But these are games that they have to win. But if they're so uninspired that they can't win a game like today or a game like Thursday's, what's going to inspire them? What's going to get them motivated? What are they going to be? What are they just going to get? What if we make the playoffs and they're still playing somewhat uninspired hockey? We just happen to all the right teams lose, and we happen to win a couple and get enough points. What if they go into the playoffs with this uninspired mindset? What's going to happen then? Everyone's going to be so freaking upset and losing their minds if that were to happen.
Yeah. I think also, Shorts Guy, that kind of lost my train of thought because there's just so many problems with this team. Mm-hmm. But I think it all starts with your head, mentally. I think this team is a bunch of softies at times, but I know it's in them. When they played the Rangers last season, they came in jacked up. They were down 2-0 in the series, but, came back to win the series. And that's a big positive, but it's just the inconsistency is just mind-boggling. And maybe they just suck at home, but why? You know, and I'll go back to this again. Without because it's nobody can explain why they suck at home. To me, I think it is too many distractions and they're being coddled. And even Lindy Ruff, when he's trying to protect his players, and I think that's admirable. But at the same time, I think as fans and the organization, we got to stop coddling these players. I would love to have at least just a sentence to the press that David Blitzer says this is unacceptable. We had high expectations, and this is nowhere where we need to be. Something generic like that, that the top bosses, are because apparently Blitzer is very involved with the team hands-on, but we don't hear about it. But
yeah, he's too busy buying other teams around other leagues.
Well, that's true too.
And he's too busy buying other teams, and there's no independent press that's covering the Devils.
Well, that and plus, the Devils fans are now paying for the Washington Commanders when they raise the ticket prices 10 to 12% across the board.
Yeah. That's just a hedge fund guy squeezing money from somewhere else to pay for another bet.
Yeah,
and it's frustrating because, the Washington Commanders are gonna end up going through the same thing. Like we saw Blitzer pretending to be excited when the Devils did well in the playoffs last year with the fans, but I feel like he's been non-existent this year, and there's nothing I don't even know what would get this team motivated. They couldn't even win on Sergei Brelin's honorable night. The night that was honoring the guy that is with them every single day, who is the epitome, an example of what it is to be a Devil. They couldn't even win on that night. So what's going to motivate this team? Will a one-liner from Blitzer in the press motivate this team? If they couldn't even win for Sergei Brelin?
Then start benching players.
They have to.
Jack Hughes.
Bench Jack.
Yeah.
Luke. Bench Luke. Bench Nemec. Bench Ball. Don't just bench Holtz. Bench everyone else. Because what is it? What are they doing? There's some of these players constantly make the same damn mistakes every single time. And it's been brought up quite often, and then all of a sudden the only one, and it's almost become like a pretty awful joke, where if you're watching this game, you can look at all these other mistakes being made on the ice, and kind of the stupid joke is, well, Holtz would have been benched for the rest of the period for that one, and whoever makes the mistake is out on their next shift. So it's so frustrating. There's just so much that's so frustrating right now. And I know we try to be positive and talk about what's good about being a Devils fan, but in all the years that we've done this, Sam, this is season 7. We've gone through some pretty crap seasons. I want to say that this is one of the most frustrating things. I know long term, it's going to wind up being a great defensive core, but right now, they look terrible. And some of them have to be benched. But the problem there, too, you know what? Who are you going to replace them with? Who are you going to replace them with? Could you – one of the things they could do, sit Luke for a game and bring Hataka back up.
Which Steve Engel says. And that's the only thing I've ever agreed with Steve Engel, bring up Hataka.
Yeah. It's like, could you imagine this? I would hope it would make a statement. You bench someone that's constantly making mistakes, and not just Holtz. For looking at Lindy wrong at times, that we can't figure out any other reason. But I don't know. I really don't know. I'm left fumbling for words and scratching my head with what's wrong with this team. And I want to say that also the success we had last season was probably one of the worst things that could have happened to us. Because that set the bar so high. And a team that was punching well above their weight, that took the league by surprise, and then this season, along with injuries, the other teams knew what to look for, the other teams knew what to go for, and the Devils were no longer a surprise. They were shorthanded with players, and they were no longer a surprise to the league.
Yeah. And Tampa didn't even play their number. They played their backup goalie.
Yeah.
Today.
They played their backup goalie. In a back-to-back that they won. They went 2-0 in their back-to-back games this weekend. We went 1-1. And that one was against the Canadiens, which we struggled to win.
And it's been a tough week. I mean, they had the outdoor game, then you had Washington. So you've had like 4 games in how many days? 6 days? Did I get that right? Something like that.
9. 4 games in 9 days.
9 days. Well, they had the game on Tuesday.
I was counting from the Philly game.
Yeah, no. So you got
Okay.
Tuesday.
Since Tuesday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 4 games in 6 days.
Again,
4 games in 6 days, though. 4 games in 6 days. 4 of those points were Metro Division points. 1 was your biggest rival, and 2 of those points were points of a team you're chasing.
Do you think firing Lindy now will help the situation? Because I'm under the impression, unless something like really stupid happens, that everyone's like, okay, I'm lost now. You know, like he pulls the goalie in the second period to try to catch up. You know, that kind of thing. I think he finishes the season. They'll give them dignity, and they'll figure it out from there whether they can him or not. That's what I think that's going to happen.
I think you would, if you're going to fire him, you need to have a good and honest replacement ready to go. Not an interim, not promoting an assistant. If you're going to let him go, you need to have his replacement ready right away. And Todd McClellan is the name that comes to mind that's available. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head, and I'm sure I'm forgetting someone who's available, like anyone who's available. But if you're going to fire him, okay, so you fire him, you bring in a new coach, you get that dead cat bounce, and the Devils start to win, and then they go into the playoffs. But because they've gotten that bounce from a new coach, maybe they don't make improvements to the team, and then everything comes crashing back down to earth in the playoffs, and all of those problems resurface because you never actually fixed them. You just got the bounce from the new coach. Then was it really worth all of going through that?
I hate to say it. The best thing that may be best for the Devils right now is that they don't make the playoffs. Lindy gets fired, because I know a lot of Devils fans feel that way. Their first-round pick is now going to be a mid-level first-round pick for 2024, which is what, but you don't want to trade that away for a goalie right now because the prices are just still astronomical for goalies. Get a goalie during the offseason, hit the reset button, and I believe it was the Vegas Golden Knights that didn't make the playoffs the previous season before they won the Stanley Cup.
That's correct. You're correct.
So, it's not – sometimes – I mean, the Devils last season took 13 steps forward and now are taking 6 steps back, but you're still ahead. At the same – nobody wants to talk about the reality here that not making the playoffs – and I'm not saying tanking because I don't believe in it, because you don't build a winning organization by tanking. because then you just have a bunch of losers on your team. You really have to look at reality here that folding the cards now and not doing something irrational before trade deadline is probably the best long term for the Devils going into next season. You've got a whole offseason to rest, recuperate Dougie Hamilton from his injury. Obviously, Jack's banged up. We will never know till the season ends what some of the ailments that a lot of these players are playing with. Bastian is banged up pretty bad, according to a source of ours. So, again, it's a bad situation. However, let's look at the positive side. They could still turn it around. It's still February. You still have 6-7 more weeks of hockey left, but just the margin of error is slim right now. They can make a comeback. They're going on the West Coast, so they're on the road. Good, because they're a better road team than a home team. And sometimes these West Coast trips, you start to come together. Maybe they'll come together on March 16th and March 17th while we're in Arizona and Vegas for our joinourcrew.com tour of those two states, Arizona and Nevada. Sorry. I'm trying to hype it up, Shorts guy, and you look all depressed, and I'm like, I'm not really selling it that well.
No, I'm looking forward to that trip. Arizona is completely losing their minds. I think today they went their 11th loss in a row or something.
Oh yeah, they're about to lose their team, all that. So just to think, when Devils fans, you think that you have it that bad? Wait till Shorts guy and I go to the Mullet, along with Scotty and Beer Baron, and we'll tell you, we'll do a podcast outside the Mullet and be like, look, we don't have it that bad. At least we have a team to not make it to the playoff with.
Which would be mean, because I know what it's like to almost lose your team, because that feeling in 95 is terrible. Which, by the way, Sam, just let it be known, it'll be my second podcast from live outside Mullet Arena in 2 years.
Wow.
Second in just over a year. Second in just over a year from outside of Mullet Arena, which I can't wait to do. That's going to be a ton of fun. I am looking forward to that trip a lot, just to kind of get out to there and experience the Mullet again, and then to experience a game in Vegas too. It's going to be a ton of fun.
But Val S says the team needs Brady, Tkachuk, and Gudas badly. Couldn't agree more.
Something like Gudas would be great.
Now, if you can trade for Brady Tkachuk at the trade deadline, that I would not think that would be an irrational move. I would approve that move, because that is a type of player that kills many birds with one stone. What's wrong with this team? You get the grit, you get the beefalytics, you get a powerful player, a great player that can change the entire dynamics of this team, like how Matthew Tkachuk did with the Florida Panthers. It would bring a totally different dynamic. Plus, you've got the family connection there as well. So, for Tom Fitzgerald, that I would approve of, only because it's short-term and long-term.
Yeah. One of the things that we have to also consider too is who we bring in versus who we're going to have coaching us, either at the end of the season or the beginning of next year too. Because if it's not going to be Lindy, whoever we bring in, we got to make sure is going to be able to work with or be part of a new system that comes in next year.
I don't know why this name is. I like Todd McClellan, but I'm thinking Bruce Boudreau.
He's available, yeah.
Again, I think he'll bring that spark. Is he a long-term guy? Probably not. but I think he could bring that spark for the next couple years that the Devils may need. You know, I mean, he's a very successful coach. Selected Boy says Craig Berube.
I just saw that too. Yeah.
I don't know.
Short term, I think that would be another short term solution.
Yeah, I mean, Berube is a good coach. It's just he has no history with the New Jersey Devils.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a former Flyer. I believe he was a former Blue and Capitals. Like, he has no history. You know what I mean? Those are just my thoughts on it. Judy Agnes says Mike Keenan. Yeah, why not?
Oh my God, Ranger fans would lose it. They would lose
He
it.
lost his hair just like Mark Messier when they were talking to the Rangers in the locker room in the Stadium Series game. I'm like, who are these two ball guys?
Yeah, I don't like. We could scratch our heads. You know, these are big decisions that Fitzy's got to make soon.
Bringing Mike Keenan to the New Jersey Devils is like taking an Xbox away from a Gen Z gamer. There's gonna be a lot of pouting going on.
Oh yeah.
Scotty Bowman says Supernova. Look, you know what? Age is just a number. No, I'm kidding. He's not coming out of retirement.
No, he doesn't need to.
Brent Sutter, just kidding. Yeah, Brent Sutter. He will hurt everybody's feelings. I don't think Marty Brodeur would allow that to happen as a hockey operations executive. No way. I heard a story. In the first year when Brent Sutter was coach of the Devils.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was trying to make his mark, and I think he pissed off Marty. And then Marty just didn't talk to him for the rest of the season. They just told him, just don't talk to me. But eventually during the offseason, they hashed it out. I heard a rumor about that.
That's pretty funny.
Dubs is like, Sam Wu behind the bench. Could you imagine? Twitter would go crazy. Twitter would
lose their mind. Oh, my gosh.
I think I'd actually do a pretty good job. You know why? Because I would simplify the game to the point where just simplify it. You've got one role to play. I'll give each player a different role, and start there. And then when you're looking about positioning, don't gallivant outside your lane to start. You know.
Well, if you became head coach, then maybe I'd finally get that spot as the E-Bug.
Well, you got to pay me off first.
Of course. It's always something.
Yeah, like when Nico Dawes is walking down the stairs, you know how they have to climb up the stairs to get on the ice when they're walking down. It's like, accidentally tripping. Oh, shorts guy. Yeah, start getting your gear ready. Just jokes. Didn't mean anything of it. Tom says Sam Wu and crew behind the bench.
It would be great. It would be great for a very short spurt of time.
I bet you we get a 1 win under our belt in the first 10 games that we coach.
I'm sure we would.
Yeah.
I'm sure we would at least get 1 win.
Yeah.
And then it would, man, if you think people hate you now on Twitter, Sam, could you imagine if you became head coach, what they would do? Fire Sam Wu. Sam Wu from all corners of the building.
You know what? I would screw with Novozinski and James Nichols. I'd be screwing with them. Next, I'm not talking to you. I'll pull a torch. I'm not talking to you, Novo. You ask stupid questions like how much ice time did Jesper Bratt get? No. Screw it. Just look it up. Yeah.
I mean, going back to where we started, it's like, what more is there to say? Like, I'm really hoping for something on this away trip. they could pull something out, but it scares me because we're playing San Jose, Anaheim, and LA. All three of those teams we lost to at home. And we're going out to the West Coast to play them.
Now, wouldn't it be something if they go out on the West Coast and actually beat all three teams?
I would take it. I would take any point to this
That
point.
tells me something at home, something's not going right.
Well, I mean, not for nothing, Sam, but they played Thursday against the Rangers, uninspired, what sounded like an away game at the Prudential Center.
You want to talk a little bit about that, about fans not showing up?
Yeah, and I saw in the chat a really good friend of the podcast, Brooke Amanda, was there as well, who she was saying how it was much more blue than red. And I will call myself out, along with a lot of other people too. We should all be buying these tickets for the Devils Rangers game as soon as they come out, to avoid that stadium being as blue and as loud with the stupid Igor chant and all that other crap that was going on. It was embarrassing. And like I said, I'll call myself out. I wasn't there, and I should have been. I should have been there in red instead of some blue creature sitting in a seat that I probably should have been occupying myself. There's just way too much blue in that stadium when the Rangers come in any and every single damn time. And if the Devils are so good on the road, then they should have played damn well on Thursday, because it sounded like an away game at home. And it was just awful. It was embarrassing to watch on TV. And I wish I was there. And I should have been there, because I should have purchased a ticket just like everyone else needs to. And not for nothing, if you're selling your ticket on the secondary market just to make money in that game, then what the hell do you have tickets for if you're not going to go to one of the biggest games of the damn year against the damn Rangers, who everyone hates? I cannot stand the Rangers. I hate the Rangers with much more of a passion than anything else. But you were at the bar, Sam. I saw the bar while I was doing Game Day Live. There were way too many damn Ranger jerseys in that stadium.
I was literally giving away Rangers Suck fortune cookies to Ranger fans. It sucks.
They're stupid. First of all, that's just pathetic. Two, it should be more Devils. This is a home game. It should be more red than blue. And even in the playoffs last year, there was still way too much blue for the playoff games last year. Like, the team has to do something better to make sure that those tickets don't get in Ranger fan hands. But the Devils front office doesn't care. It's dollars in the door. That's all they care about, because they got to pay for the stupid Washington Commanders. All they care about is someone has purchased a ticket. They don't care what color jersey the person is wearing, because that's the Devils front office is about dollars and cents and patting themselves in the back for creating a jersey. And I would love to also see one of the players go, we don't know where our fans were today. Where the hell were the fans today? Why did it sound like a Rangers home game? I would love to hear any player on the New Jersey Devils call out the fans for, like, why are you not here on a game like today? Then again, the fans have every right to say, well, why are you playing so uninspired against the Rangers? It's a two-way street. The Devils should have been there. And the Devils should have played better against the Rangers. It's a two-way street. But I would love to hear one of the players go, yeah, we don't know where our fans were today. We thought we were at MSG. That would make such waves. And I would love every moment of it, because it's true. It is damn true. We should not have heard that stupid Igor chant. And then the Devils try to be shooting against the goalie that just needs direct shots. Because, hell, the Islanders put, what was it, 4 or 5 or something like past him at the outdoor game. The Devils put one direct shot on net and it went in. They tried to be too cute, and they made dumb defensive mistakes, and it sounded like goals were being scored at MSG. Let's go Rangers chants, Igor chants. It was pathetic. The Devils fans need to show out for these Devil Ranger games and put more red in that stadium than the damn blue. So and I'm looking at the schedule now. There's no more opportunity for this season, so we lost that opportunity. And it's for next season, though. I'm going to call everyone out and say we need to show up at those games, and I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I will, unless there's some odd, for whatever reason that I can't go, I'm going to try to buy tickets to those games right away, and I will do my damnedest to be there. And I think all the rest of the Devils fans need to forget what you'll make on the secondary market. Show up and you support your team, and not let it be a freaking home game for the most hated team in our division that we all hate with a passion. It's saying, like, we all stood there open mouthed and wondering why the hell they were showing Mark Messier on the Jumbotron at the freaking outdoor game. We all hate the Rangers. So just go. And Max just said, why should the fans go when they get blown out? I agree. It's a two-way street, like I said. The Devils need to play much more inspired against the Rangers. But at the same time, we got to show up and not let a stupid Igor chant. Just like we used to hear the Henrik chants.
Or
all those years ago.
Or some hotshot rookie that decides to intently injure one of our players, and then the guy that was defending him get his ass kicked, Siegenthaler. It's just
Trouba,
bad.
And then Trouba, even though there was a clean hit, the fact that it was Trouba just makes it more infuriating to hit Bastian. And it's like I can't freaking stand it. And I don't even, and that kid didn't even get a suspension for what he did to Bastian.
Yeah,
no suspension.
That's because George Paros is a Jersey kid that's a Rangers fan. That's
yeah,
why.
well, because probably because Jacob Trouba took him under his wing and said, "Just hey kid, you can play dirty. Just tell him you do art and you're a soft guy. Tell him you do art and the league will love you, and you can be a dirtbag against the rest of the players." Holy hell. I hate the Rangers. I absolutely hate the Rangers. I'm really trying not to Grant Marshall the podcast.
All right, let's change the subject. I'll tell you what bothered me during that game. So Tom graciously got me a ticket for that game. My hard work at American Whiskey, there's a little perks there. Season ticket holders get, hey, why don't you come inside, sit with me? I was like, all right, but just be aware, I got to do post-production for the pregame show, Game Day Live, all this. I got to set up Devils After Dark, all that. And plus, because the Rangers are in town, you know what that means, Shorts Guy. I got to protect the equipment because let me tell you something.
Because they're jerks. They're jerks.
They actually break my equipment because they're drunk, they don't know what they're doing, whatever. So I go inside. You know me. I go inside. I get sidetracked. But then during the second period, I got to section 5, and I was watching the game up top, and there was probably 15 of us that were standing up top. And all of a sudden, the usher looks at me. He could have looked at anybody else or all of us. He checked my ticket. He's like, okay, now go to your seat. And I'm looking around. I'm like, why me? Everybody else is standing. But I kept my cool because it's Tom's ticket. If it was my ticket under my name, guess what? I would have made a big stink. But because it was Tom's, I don't want to get Tom in trouble. So I kept my mouth shut, and I walked away. And I grabbed some chocolate chip cookies, which I eventually gave to Matt as pocket cookies down in section 5. Believe me, he'll vouch for me. And, yeah, it was just like, yeah. But the bottom line here is I could see from Max's standpoint as well. But
I can too. I can as well. It's just, but they've got to play. But it shows to the bigger problem that this team is playing uninspired. But it's not like this is a one-off where Devils fans have sold their tickets or Ranger fans have snapped them all up because they can't afford to go to their garbage dump that Godzilla 98 turned into a stupid nest and was blown up ceremoniously or unceremoniously. I don't even know what the right phrasing would be. They got blown up in Godzilla 98, the only good scene in that damn movie. It's Ranger fans, just go watch your game at MSG with all the suits that go to that game.
This is some of the trash talking from the Ranger fans when I was standing up top. One guy One guy comes up in like this 1980s like Rangers jacket, that he probably wore, in high school, back in 1984, walking up. Yeah, they call this the Rock. It's a pebble.
Oh, I heard that too.
Oh,
I heard that too. A good buddy of mine posted something about it being the pebble. It's like, shut up, shut up, shut up. You know, just because you can't afford to go to games in your own building doesn't mean you have to come here and be a jerk in ours. But then again, Sam, you know as well as I do, like we've dealt with those Ranger jerks for however many years we were at the Meadowlands and here at the Rock. They're all the same.
you know what?
They're all the same.
This is what you and I need to do. We need to go to a Devils Rangers game in MSG. Just you and I. Just you and I, right? We need to plan an invasion of Madison Square Garden next year.
Yep.
I've got this plan because I've already contacted a few friends in New York because they got New York zip codes in the city to try to get these tickets, right? So there's not geolocation locked.
Oh, you mean what the Devils front office should do? Making it so that only New Jersey people can buy tickets?
Yeah. So this is how, I've already figured out, because we've already done a Garden Invasion once, years ago.
Why don't we do a Devils group trip to an to a Devil Ranger game in MSG?
We'll go
like the Devils front office allows Ranger fans frickin' doing a group trip, a group purchase, and a group picture on the ice in Ranger jerseys. Whoever did that in the front office should be fired immediately.
Well, you see, here's the thing.
Fired immediately.
If you're going to plan this, it has to be we have to be all in, okay? When you walk into the building, you got to get past security without any incident, because it would be the greatest flash mob viral video you ever see. I would love for us, if we had the funds to do it, to buy out all the seats behind the Rangers bench.
And just red.
And just go in like a corporate suit, and then as soon as the puck drops, rip it off and let it go, and just complete morons. Were you there for that when I went in the Marty Brodeur gear?
I wasn't at that game.
You weren't
I was
there.
Not at that game.
So
no.
Let me tell you how we did that Garden Invasion. We're talking about 50 to 60 Devils fans. We took over. I believe it's next to Stout. It was is it Blarney Rock or Blarney Stone?
I can never remember. I can never remember.
It's on 34th Street. We took it over. And I had the Marty Brodeur gear on. And I actually went inside Madison Square Garden with the Marty Brodeur gear. It was about 50, 60 of us. The Devils won that night. Giunta, I believe, had 2 goals. Right? Brian Giunta.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the best time of my life, because we went into Madison Square Garden, filled up their building, and then on the way out, that was interesting because every Ranger fan wanted to kill me. So security said, look, you were good the whole time. Let's go take the elevator home. You'll like it there. Because there was already fights. There were already 2 fights. A couple of my friends, Starland Ritchie, who was actually a Ranger fan but went with one of our friends, actually punched out a Ranger fan that threw water and popcorn at me. And, so, we need to do a Garden Invasion of, some sort, but we have to be really discreet where they don't see us coming. Yeah. It'd be it would be totally unexpected.
Yeah, and somewhere visible so they can see it on the see it on the screen. And it's one of those things where we would have to be going, if we're going to be all in, if we're going to do this, we got to be all in to where no matter what the Devils do on the ice, we still have to show out, and we still have to be loud, and take whatever comes our way. If we're going to do this, it can't be like, oh man, the Devils are losing at the end of the second, we should sneak. No, you got to stay there to the end, and you got to just take it, but you got to be that pocket of red. And I don't know. It's just, I'm all for it. All
right, but I think maybe this year, if we're able to, we may have to go on a reconnaissance mission. the March game?
We might.
Yeah, we'll have to get tickets somehow. Do a reconnaissance because it is the new Madison Square Garden. Maybe we could trick Kurt into selling his tickets to us. Yeah, Kurt, I'll give you a salad if you fork over those tickets.
Maybe we can have a conversation with one William Dean, see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean a garden invasion would be great. I mean,
it'd be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it would be, but it has to be organized.
I know.
Survey says tickets probably $800 each. You know, again, we still have to figure out the logistics of this. We got to also find a rich Devils fan that would sponsor this with cash under the table so we can fund this too. You know,
it's gonna cost. I mean, I'm looking at tickets right now for that March game. You know, one ticket in the 400s is $200. Like you're getting nothing less
behind the bench. I think is like $8,000.
No, it's four.
Four.
Hold on, let me get rid of these. Yeah, kind of looking at it real quick now. Yeah, $400, $500. So it's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. Oh, you're right, Sam. Close to it. There is one ticket for $4,095. Yep, $4,095. Let's see. Let's look at that one. I'll just put it on. I'll just put it on the.
Maybe it's some marketing executive thing. Maybe we'll get a Devils fan to pay that price because it's $95 at the end.
We'll just put it on the podcast credit card.
Somewhere we're gonna have to embezzle money somewhere to pay for this.
Don't say that out loud. You're supposed to do that quietly.
Okay. Somewhere we're gonna have to long-term lease some money.
Hey Sam, I've got a great financial opportunity for you if you give me a bunch of money, and then if you ask all your other buddies to give you a bunch of money, to give me a bunch of money, it's a great financial opportunity.
Ponzi scheme? You talking about Ponzi scheme? Yeah, well,
no, I'm talking about a financial opportunity.
Yeah, a Ponzi scheme. That's what we need to do. Maybe I should request they should have it for the season ticket holder package, you know, for the renewals as they're raising it 10 to 12%. I want lunch with David Blitzer, and the question I'm going to ask is, all right, so how do we get ourselves as rich as you so we can buy tickets at Madison Square Garden?
Oh my gosh. The stupid things that I would do if I had the money to do it, it would be like an unsupervised child that found fireworks.
Yeah.
It would be a disaster.
It's really our fault, Shorts Guy. Had we bought more Doge in 2021.
Yeah, well,
you know.
I'm still sitting on that one, Sam.
Yeah.
Just a dollar piece. That's all we need.
Well, it's gone off the rails, Shorts.
Yeah, it's because you and I are here in charge. That's why.
Yeah, we don't have Scotty to reel it in. Now, can the Devils turn it around? Look, from a fan standpoint and from the podcast standpoint, we have passionate fans. There are a lot of people watching right now, live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's see here.
There are for Sunday night. We've got 58 in the YouTube chat right now watching live.
We had like 20 on Twitter. Now it's down to 5. And then we had like about 12 to 15 on Facebook Live. And we had that one lone viewer on Twitch that I was looking at. But, look, as what Tom says, well, it's because they suck this week. That's why it's off the rails. Yeah. But that could change in a week or two. If you go on a 5-game heater, which this team has not shown to anybody that they can even go on a 3-game heater, it could be.
It's just one game at a time. Win in Anaheim, and then win the next game in San Jose, or if it's San Jose then Anaheim. Excuse me, San Jose then Anaheim. We just win in San Jose on Tuesday. Don't make Mac Black look like a superstar on Tuesday.
They will.
Do not Do not let Mac Black look like a damn superstar. Because you know what we're going to hear on Wednesday morning if Mac Black looks like a superstar? All of the criticism of why did we trade Mac Black? Don't make him look like a superstar. Please don't. I don't normally like being this negative, Sam, but I feel like this week has brought it out of me.
Well, here's the positive news. I'm looking at the standings right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is one possible way that the Devils can get into the playoffs, but they're going to need a little help, aside from winning. But you look at the standings, one of the teams that's on the bubble that's kind of in the way is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
What if they're sellers on that deadline? Because they've overachieved this season, right? They've overachieved this season.
They have.
They're sitting with 67 points. Devils are 5 points behind them. And what if the Devils go on a little run this West Coast trip before trade deadline? And the Flyers, who have lost 2 straight, and no Carter Hart, that would be the Devils' one option getting in. But you got to hold off the Capitals, the Penguins, the Islanders, right behind the Devils.
I know. We're
standings.
losing these games at hand, and we're losing these Metro Division points. It's that's really what's going to bite us in the backside when this all comes to head in April. And it's these are the games that we're going to be so annoyed that we lost to the Rangers. We're going to be so annoyed that we lost to the Capitals, and we're going to be so annoyed that we lost to the Lightning this week.
Well, here's the good news.
The playoffs.
Here's the good news. Plus one game in hand with the Flyers. So possibly this week, say if the Devils have a perfect week and the Flyers continue that losing streak, we could find the Devils in that third place of the Metropolitan Division, which would qualify them in the playoffs. So it's not that it sounds all doom and gloom right now, but there's a tremendous amount of competition right now.
I know.
Gaining on the Flyers. So if the Flyers are sellers and the Devils go on a little mini run here this week, the Devils will be in it. But again, you got to fend off the Capitals, the Penguins, Islanders, and possibly the Sabres as well. Sabres being an up-and-coming team, winning 3 in a row right now.
Yeah, no, agreed. And then you have to remember how to play inspired hockey come playoff time, because you don't want to do all that work to make the playoffs and then play like we did this past week and be bounced in 4.
Yeah, I think once the Devils get in the playoffs, because you're young, that they're not going to be, although I'm a little concerned about Luke Hughes, just because he's playing a lot of minutes and a lot of games for the first time in his, hockey career. But to answer your question, can the Devils turn around? Absolutely. But time is running out.
It is.
You got 7 weeks of hockey left. And let's get to our final thoughts, Shorts Guy.
I'm going to go positive with my final thought today, Sam. I'm going to go positive after such a down podcast and venting and getting it all out. Just kind of like our good old Festivus episode back in November or December 23rd. Which is good. And I bring that up for a reason, because in that Festivus episode, my niece Brielle was at her first game. And then yesterday, my niece Leah was at her first game, and it was Brielle's second game. And they were both guest stars on the Devils After Dark. And I think Scotty said in our group chat, the 2 of the best guest stars of the entire season. So that's my positive. My nieces got to go to the game yesterday. It was Leah's first, Brielle's second, and they're the next generation of Devils fans. And I'm the proud Uncle Shorts guy that can not only be there with them, but also put them on the TV at the bar so that Grandma and Grandpa can watch them as well. So it was fun. It was a ton of fun, and that's going to be my final thought. Just the fun that I had with family yesterday, and seeing my nieces, just light up being at a Devils game and being very excited.
Yeah. My positive final thought. Hey, at least we're not the Arizona Coyotes.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a damn good time at Mullet, though. We're gonna have such a
absolutely.
good time at Mullet.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about our trip, if you're going to Arizona and Vegas, go to joinourcrew.com. Joinourcrew.com. Get the latest of our live events, because we will be doing live podcasts on the ground in Arizona and Vegas, live in front of, I don't know, hopefully Devils fans.
Yeah, we'll start organizing that. Now that the outdoor game's over, we'll start organizing that. And, yeah, if you're going out or if you have plans to go out to Arizona or Vegas, definitely go to joinourcrew.com. Definitely send us a DM or something on any of our socials, and we'll start organizing something, once we find out if it's just going to be us or there are other people involved. So please reach out if you're planning on going out west, and we'll figure something out while we're out there.
Yeah. Wow. We went over an hour today. Thank you to all those tuning in, dropping the podcast at midnight. Watch out for a Woo Report. West Coast games, we're going to be on pretty late. Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. Also, Wednesday, State of the Fan address, 8:30 p.m. Eastern with Nick Villano, posted pitchforks.com. Till next time, let's go Devils.